Today we're going to be building an Oathbreaker deck on camera. Now this video is a bit different than the content I usually have. Usually I plan these videos out ahead of time and I try to at least put a decent polish on them. This is a little different. We're kind of just winging this. We're going to build the deck from scratch and just see how it goes. See if there's any interest in content like this. Lately I've been real interested in signature spells that you can cast multiple times and cheat their commander tax, not have to pay the commander tax. I got a whole video on this coming up, but for now I've been real interested in Drag to the Underworld. It's an instant for 2 black, but it costs X less to cast, where X is your devotion to black, which means each black and the mana cost of permanents you control counts towards your devotion to black. Destroy target creature. Now, ideally, you'd be casting this for black every time. Because the devotion to black can actually get rid of the command tax, so if you've cast it once, normally you'd have to cast it for 6, but as long as you have 4 black devotion, you can still cast it for 2 mana. I think that's pretty neat. I don't think it's the most powerful thing you can do, but it is interesting, and I wanted to build a deck around that. So this time we're starting with the signature spell. Usually people start with the Planeswalker and then pick a signature spell. We're going to flip that around this time. We're going to start with a signature spell and take a look at what Planeswalker might go best with it and build the deck out from there. So I know I want it to be mono black, and I know I want it to be low mana cost. So we're going to sort this by low mana value. Ideally 3, maybe 4, probably not 5. Let's see, Duretti, that's Duretti, right? This guy's pretty good, but I already have a Duretti deck, and it's not really what we're looking for. Liliana we can't use. Liliana of the Veil, that's a good card. I've always wanted to build a deck around this one, but I don't think it's really what we're looking for. Liliana of the Last Hope has some promise. It's got some soft removal as a +1 and some card advantage for the -2. It's got a zombie thing for the -7, and I don't really want to do a zombie thing. I don't really want to do tribal at all, but maybe. Sorin Bloodlord, that's a decent option, I think, but again, it's tribal. I don't know. None of the Karns seem like a good match. Then we get into the 4 mana ones. Liliana of the Dark Realms, that could be decent. Then more zombie tribal stuff. Sorin the Mirthless. Then we get into the 5 mana stuff. I kind of like Liliana Vess for the -2, but I know that's just not really a good card. I want this to be at least an okay deck. I don't really build powerful decks, but I don't want it to be straight up bad. So I think we're going to go with Liliana of the Last Hope. So let's just read it. For 1 black, she starts at 3 loyalty. +1, up to 1 target creature gets -2/-1 till your next turn. -2, mill 2 cards, then you may return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. -7, you get an emblem with, at the beginning of your end step, create X 2/2 black zombie creature tokens, where X is 2 plus the number of zombies you control. I'm not too worried about that, but it's nice to have. I want this deck to focus on permanent spells. So of course we'll have a couple instants and sorceries in there, but we'll want to maximize the devotion for the signature spell and maybe cards like Gary to drain people out. So I'm not quite sure how to do this, but I put the mana cost as black, so it'd be 2 mana ones with double black pips. We're just going to see what shows up here. Bloodghast is pretty good. I've always liked Bloodghast. I used to run that in Modern. That's probably not playable anymore, but back in the day I enjoyed it. And it's especially nice that he keeps coming back over and over again. If you're, on the one hand, I kind of feel like this would be kind of a longer play deck where you're looking to outvalue your opponent after a long amount of time, and Bloodghast is a bit more of an aggressive card, I feel, but I don't know. We'll still put him in the maybes. Black Knight, that's a classic one. First strike, protection from white, that's definitely a maybe. Basil Thrall, am I saying that right? Basal? Thrall? Whatever. Tap, sack it, add black to your mana pool. Probably not, but we'll put it in the maybes anyway. I don't want too many creatures that can't block. Again, this is not a real aggressive deck, I don't think. This is kind of a bide your time and drain them out deck. So I can't put too many of these guys in. We're going to put it in the maybes anyway. Fog of Gnats. Now here's a card I did not know existed. It's a 1/1 flyer and pay black to regenerate it. That seems okay. It's not the world's best card, but if you want a long game, I think that might actually be decent. We'll definitely put that in the maybes. Same with Consumptive Goo. You can pay 4 mana to give target creature -1/-1 till end of turn. Put a +1/+1 counter on Consumptive Goo. Maybe, definitely maybe. Since we're not running a whole ton of instant and sorcery removal in this deck, I like creatures that have removal on them, at least as an option. Speaking of which, Gatekeeper of Malachar. When I used to play Modern, I loved this card. Same with Gifted Aetherborn, and even Graveyard Marshal. I don't know that any of these cards were Modern staples or anything like that. I just like building bad decks. Nantuko Shade. I've tried this card in a couple different builds before and it never performed very well, but I'll put it in the maybes anyway. Relentless Dead. Even though this is not a zombie tribal deck, I think this might be solid. When it dies, you may pay black. If you do, return it to its owner's hand. And when it dies, you may pay X. If you do, return another target zombie creature card with converted mana cost X from your graveyard to the battlefield. This is great in zombie builds. I don't know if it's worthwhile here. Maybe we'll wind up with enough zombies that it will be, though. Timorat. Am I saying that right? I don't know. Timorat, Chosen from Death. This isn't a great one here. It is a great one. For black, it's a 2x. Its toughness is equal to your devotion to black, so this could get real high. By mid-game, I'd expect this to be, at least a 2/5. Pretty good for 2 mana. Definitely put that in the maybes. I'll put that in the for sures. Same with Undead Augur. That's a maybe. When it or another zombie creature you die, you draw a card and lose a life. Got to get that card advantage. Oh, Vampire Hexmage. Yeah, this is perfect. This is a definite. First strike, sacrifice Vampire Hexmage, remove all counters from target permanent. This can nuke a Planeswalker. I can't believe I don't think I've ever used this in Oathbreaker. This seems pretty good. This seems the perfect spot for it. And Yurok's Fenlurker. This seems like a given too. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent exiles a card from their hand, and it's got a pump on there too. Now we're going to search up 1-mana creatures that are just black. Let's search by EDH rec rank. This will give us the best ones first. Viscera Seer, always pretty good. Sack a creature, scry 1. Stitcher's Supplier might be good. When it enters or dies, mill 3 cards. This kind of works with Liliana, that the second one that lets you return creatures from your graveyard to your hand. Gravecolor could be good there too, because Liliana also does mill things into the graveyard. But again, it can't block, and this isn't really a zombie deck, so I don't think I'm going to go that way with it. Maybe I should. Maybe I should do a zombie tribal thing, but there's so many other good black, heavy devotion to black creatures. I just don't think I want to do a zombie build. I don't think I'll include Dockside Chef, but it's a maybe. I like having some options for card draw. Blood Pet could help us get Liliana out sooner. I like that about it. Vampire of the Dire Moon has Death Touch and Lifelink. I think that's real solid for just 1 mana. Again, not overpowered, but it can be good. Foulmire Knight. I think I like this one. It's got card draw as a Profane Insight, and it's a 1/1 Death Toucher for just 1. Definite maybe. It's another zombie too. I'm really going to regret not making this a zombie deck, I think. Hopefully I don't decide at the end that I was wrong and have to go back through them all again, but we'll see. Iridescent Vine Lasher. This one's got Offspring, which means you may pay an additional 2 as you cast it. If you do, when this creature enters, create a 1/1 token copy of it. Now my question is, does the token copy have a mana cost? Because if it does, it would increase your devotion, and that would be, I don't know if the card's worth putting in anyway. I don't know. I probably won't include it, but that would be a neat way to increase your devotion if that does work. All right, I feel like that's probably enough for the 1-mana creatures. I think we looked at most of the good ones. We're going to take a look at triple black creatures next. Okay, there's only 9 of them, but there are some good ones. This first one here, Ayara, I think it is. When it or another black creature enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Tap, sack another black creature, draw a card. Yeah, that's a maybe for sure. Dreadshade is not quite as good, but it's a maybe. What's this one? I don't know this one. Sacrifice it, destroy target non-black creature. You can recover to pay half your life rounded up. When another creature is put into your graveyard from play, you may pay half your life rounded up. If you do, return this card from your graveyard to your hand. Otherwise, remove it from the game. I don't know, maybe. I like removal on a triple black creature, but you do lose the creature if you use that, though. I don't know. Dralf's Messenger I've had a lot of luck with, though, so we're going to definitely put that one in the deck. Probably no to the Lich, because I'm not sure I'll put many artifacts in the deck. Probably some mana rocks, but no. Okay, quadruple black. As far as I know, there's only one. Yep, Phyrexian Obliterator. We're definitely going to put this in the maybes. Not even in the maybes. We're going to put this in the for sure. This has to go in. Got Trample, and whenever a source deals damage to Phyrexian Obliterator, that source's controller sacrifices that many permanents. This is really the reason I wanted to build the deck in the first place. I love this card. I love this card so much. It's pretty mean. Opponents hate playing against it. And I think there is also a 5 black card. I think it's a new one. Unless it's 6 black. Maybe it is 6. It must be 6. It's not 5. Yeah, there we go. Doomsday Excruciator. I just drafted this on Arena. When it enters, if it was cast, each player exiles all but the bottom 6 cards of their library face down. At the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card. It's also a 6/6 flyer, though. Okay, next step, I think we're going to look at some EDH Rec Devotion to Black, and I know that's Commander, but it's still going to give us some good ideas, especially some non-creature ideas. Erebos, God of the Dead. As long as your Devotion to Black is less than 5, Erebos isn't a creature. Your opponents can't gain life. Pay 2 and 2 life, draw a card. Yeah, that's definite maybe there. It seems pretty good. In fact, I think I might have built that in the Commander. In Commander as Mono Black once upon a time. Blight Breath. That is a kill spell on a creature. I don't really like 6 mana. Same with Abhorrent Overlord. If this was Commander, 7 mana, 6 mana, sure, but I'm a little bit iffy on that in Oathbreaker, but we're still going to put it in the maybes. Definitely not this one. I don't want to, lose 8 life and draw 8 cards in a 20 life format. That sounds pretty bad. What is Grim Servant here? Menace. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for a card with mana value less than or equal to your Devotion to Black. Reveal it and put it in your hand. You lose 3 life. Yeah. Okay. Again, this is life loss in a 20 life format, so maybe not. But it's only 3 life. That's a maybe. But it only has 1 black pip, so I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see how it shakes out. Underworld Hermit. Another 6 mana. Enters the battlefield. Create a number of 1/1 green squirrel tokens equal to your Devotion to Black. I feel like that's probably better than Blight Breath, at least. I remember this one. When it enters the battlefield, up to X target creatures each gain Intimidate and Haste until end of turn, where X is your Devotion to Black. Sure, Intimidate could be helpful for getting in some damage. Got the other Erebos here. That's a maybe. All these cards are cool. They work with Devotion. Same with Marsh Mist Titan. But again, it's only 1 black pip. Darn it. Can it be at least 2, maybe 3? That would be incredible. Nyx Lotus. I don't really want my ramp at 4 mana, especially if you can't tap it right away. So not interested in that one. Gary. Now this is a must-have. 100% of the 24 Devotion to Black decks. How are there only 24 Devotion to Black decks on EDH Rec? That can't be right. But 100% of them are using it. No surprise why. Enters, each opponent loses X life, where X is your Devotion to Black. You gain life equal to the life lost this way. This is the finisher of the deck. Definitely a good way to finish them off. Altar of the Pantheon and any other 3 or 4 mana rocks. Not interested. Jet Medallion, that's more my style. Black spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. I'll be focusing on 2 mana ramp for this deck, and probably not very much ramp at that. Cryptgas seems good. It's got Extort, and whenever you tap a swamp for mana, add an additional black. So this is 1 ramp spell that I would probably put in the deck, and I do own one, an extra one too. So yeah, that's going in there. Feed the Swarm. Destroy target creature or enchantment an opponent controls. You lose life equal to that permanent's mana value. So this is a card I would normally put in a deck, but I mean, I would love to see if I can find a black artifact or an enchantment that does something similar, that destroys something somehow and adds to your Devotion. Massacre Worm. Oh, now that is a 6 mana spell worth putting in probably. When it enters, creatures your opponents control get -2/-2 till end of turn. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, that player loses 2 life. Yeah. Wow, that's only 90 cents now. Wow, that's pretty good. It's got 3 black pips, and that most of all is what I'm looking for. Holy cow, Sheldred is like $80 now. When that first came out, I wanted to pick one up. It was maybe $35-40. I wanted one for my Nekusar deck. I thought, oh no, I'll wait till the price comes down. Well, that was a mistake. I guess I should have picked one up when they were 40. Not going to get one now. It's too expensive. Twilight Prophet. This would be a good one for the deck. It's got some card advantage and 2 black pips. I'm going to say probably on that one. Oh, Bloodletter of Elk, whatever. If an opponent would lose life during your turn, they lose twice that much life instead. This works good with Gary and, really pretty much any other way you're going to win. It's got triple black pips. I should put this in the list. I don't know if I really want to buy a $26 card for this, but that card is good. It's got to go in there. I'll find a spot for it. Yeah. Solemn Simulacrum. No. I want black pips. Not this time, Solemn. I'm not going to focus on the instants and sorceries. I will put a couple in there, and I'll link the deck list when I'm done. Or I'll go over the deck list a little bit. But, there's some good instants and sorceries, yada yada. Whip of Erebos. Creatures you control have lifelink. Pay 4, tap, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Exile it at the next end steps. This is basically unearth. And Bolas's Citadel. There's only so many 6-mana cards I can squeeze into an Oathbreaker deck. No. I should not use this card. 20 life format, Bolas's Citadel, probably not so good. Not going to put that in there, but I love the card. One of my favorite cards ever. Dark Prophecy. Oh, I forgot about this card. Whenever a creature you control dies, you draw a card and lose a life. Oh, and Underworld Dreams too. I think Underworld Dreams is a little bit too slow at killing people. Whenever an opponent draws a card, deals 1 damage to that player. Maybe I want to put that in, but it doesn't really affect the board, It kind of slowly whittles away at them, but I don't think that's going to be enough. Dark Prophecy at least gets you cards to maybe further the board position. Tough. In a minute, I'm going to go searching specifically for enchantments or artifacts that are permanents that destroy stuff. But let's look at utility lands first, since we're here. Nykthos, Shrine to Nyx, Cabal Coffers, I guess maybe Cabal Stronghold, and then definitely Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth to also make the Cabal ones into swamps themselves. Definitely putting all those in. It's going to be kind of an expensive deck, honestly. Normally I build cheap decks, but we're going all out for this one. Okay, artifacts or enchantments that say destroy and are black. Let's see what we got here. 135 of them. Okay, I did not think that through. It also has to be black itself. There we go. Otherwise, it's kind of going to defeat the purpose. And we're going to sort it by EDH Rec Rank. Ooh, No Mercy. I've got this in another deck, but sure, we'll pull it out for that. Whenever a creature deals damage to you, destroy it. That is mean. On the downside, I'm not so sure about this now. Now that I'm thinking about it, they can still deal damage to your Planeswalker, and that's not going to cause them to destroy their creature, so... maybe. Noxious Gearhulk is good, but all right, we'll put it as a maybe. But again, I only want 1 or 2 6-mana cards, and I don't think this will be the one. Executioner's Capsule. Yes, that's going in there. Not overpowered, but it can destroy something. It's like a slow terror. Dalek Drone. All right, aside from, I kind of don't want this to put that in there at all because I just don't like Daleks and other random stuff in my Magic. Not a big fan. I'm a huge Doctor Who fan. I just don't really want it mixed in with other random Magic stuff. I'm just gonna call it, and we're gonna pass over that. Seal of Doom. Sacrifice Seal of Doom. Destroy target non-black creature. Can't be regenerated. Yes, that is a destroy spell that can also contribute to your black. What about this? I don't know this card. Locust. It's a 3/2 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, each other player sacrifices a creature. Really? This is it's not targeted removal, but it's removal on a creature. That seems good. Yeah, I'm in for that. That's good. I'm on the fence about this one. Grave Peril. When a non-black creature enters the battlefield, sacrifice Grave Peril. If you do, destroy that creature. Sometimes this can put people off from casting any creatures for several turns, which is really unique. And, all your creatures are black, so it's not going to matter for you. I'll put that in the maybes. I don't think it's going to make the cut, but I do love the card. Okay, I've got a whole bunch of ideas. I'm going to go ahead and build the deck. I'll come back and show you the completed deck in just a minute. Be a bit for me, but it'll be just a few seconds for you. All right, I got it all finished up here, and there's a couple cards I wanted to talk about. Thrall Parasite is one I found late in the game here. I realized Extort might be a good way to slowly whittle away at people. It seems to be kind of what the deck wants to do as opposed to real combat-focused deck. So this is a good one. 1 mana, Extort, and it has tap, pay 2 life, remove a counter from target non-land permanent. I like how this can pick off a Planeswalker at 1 or keep a Planeswalker from getting to its ultimate, something like that. Creeping Bloodsucker. This is another kind of Extort card. At the beginning of your upkeep, Creeping Bloodsucker deals 1 damage to each opponent. You gain life equal to the damage dealt this way. Another way to win without attacking much. I realized I was a real hypocrite for including that Warhammer card, especially right after talking about how I didn't want the Daleks in. That was kind of funny watching that back. But I don't play Warhammer, so I guess it just doesn't matter as much to me. So yeah, I'm going to be a hypocrite. I'm going to include it anyway. I like the card. Murderous Rider has a couple black pips, and it's got a removal spell on it. I wanted to find ways to have our removal be kind of permanence, and this kind of works for that. I did wind up putting Grim Servant in here, even though it's lacking the pips, because it can search out Grey Merchant, and this is a huge win con for us. Same with Relentless Dead. If Gary dies or gets milled into the graveyard or something or other, you can bring it back with Relentless Dead. A couple cards I didn't wind up putting in are Nykthos Shrine to Nyx and Jet Medallion. I realized that reducing colorless or tapping for colorless is not where we want to be for this deck. There's so much black in it that's just not going to work. I'm pretty happy with the curve. I do think maybe I should have put a little bit more in the 2 mana slot, seeing as our commander is 3 mana, our Oathbreaker. But I did really skimp out on the 6s. It wound up I forgot this was a 6 mana one, so I don't know why I was talking about all those other 6 mana ones. Obviously, this is going to be our 1 6 mana pick if we're only doing 1 6 mana card. And Gary is the only 5 mana, so this deck is relatively low in mana cost, but that's kind of just the format. I think that's a good place for this deck to be. Let me know if you enjoyed the video and if you want me to make more of these. This was real fun to do. I really enjoyed this one. Truth be told, I'm running out of matching Planeswalkers to signature spell videos. I've done 172 of them. I actually have another 10 or so waiting in the wing to upload. I only upload 1 a week. And eventually I'm going to run out of Planeswalkers. So if I want to keep this channel going for Oathbreaker, I've got to find something else to do. This is a decent option. And yeah, all right. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.